So my housing agent was in here approximately a month and a half ago, and he was very concerned about my safety in this living space. He was like an absolute champ, and I wish he was still around because he was one of the few people who actually was trying to do something about the dangers that I'm in this housing situation. And he explained that he thought I was not safe in here. And one of the things that he was saying is that there's a suspended ceiling in this bathroom, obviously, and you can see the tiles, and those tiles are easily removable. And he also observed that the wall over there, you can't really see it from here, does not go all the way up to the top. It actually has a gap where you can, if you turn the light off in here, you can maybe see if there's someone in unit 78 with the light on. No, you can't. I mean, there's nobody with the light on in 78 right now. But in the past, I did notice that gap as well. Back when my eyes were still good, you could see that there was like a 3-inch gap between the top of the wall and the bottom of the suspended ceiling. And as I keep mentioning, and this is a verifiable fact, Oleg Aliseyev, the property manager of this building complex, who is Russian and likes to use career criminals to do his dirty work, seems to be a favorite pastime over there from what I can tell. And from what I've been told, he's been housing a career criminal and pedophile who's also a psychopath named Jasmine Irizarry, officially and then unofficially in the bathroom behind this wall since 2013. And Irizarry has been engaging in the same exact identical, unreproducible, highly unique, and very disturbing behavioral thumbprint for over 10 years from directly behind this wall. It's the same exact set of cause and effect responses, violence, aggression, intrusion from behind this wall now as it was back in 2013 when her friend Aliseyev placed her in the bathroom behind this wall and then would brag to me about her hacking abilities and how she was Greenville's surveillance expert. And over the last few years, Irizarry has increasingly become more aggressive and also more sophisticated in her harassment tactics, her stalking, and her ability to propagate things into this bathroom and into the rest of my living space without physically setting foot in here. And one of the things that my housing agent suggested is that there's something that can be sprayed or aerosolized through the suspended ceiling in this bathroom, which is really not even a ceiling. It's just some very thin, flimsy, removable tiles. There's also a vent right here that you can, if you can access the space above these tiles, this is a dropped ceiling, there's obviously a space between the tiles, then you can spray whatever you want into this bathroom. And then if you can spray it in large enough amounts, it goes into this living space. And over the last few months, I've noticed that each time I've ordered pizza for delivery, right? Or some kind of delicious home delivered meal, some kind of aerosolized or sprayed substance starts to settle all over the floor and the table right here. This is the table that I eat at. It is a smooth plastic surface. So anytime anything settles on it, you can feel it. You can also feel it if it lands on your skin. And I have just ordered pizza tonight. And this is like the 10th time that this has happened since when I've ordered pizza over the last few months. All of a sudden, there's like a powdery substance that starts settling all over the table, all over the pizza boxes, all over the stuff that I'm trying to eat. And it is so harmful that when it lands on your skin immediately starts to burn. So it's like, powdered napalm or something? I mean, it's extremely harmful. You literally have to go rinse your hands and your arms off if it lands on your hands. And if I'm eating with my hands, this powdery substance will land on my hands. If it gets into your food, or if it even gets onto the coverings of your food, and then you open up the container and then the powder gets into your food, then it causes immediate and severe stomach cramping and burning. So it's some type of toxic, corrosive, powdery substance that you start noticing is settling all over everything, while you're sitting here. I also noticed that it settles on the seat that I try to sit on. So if I'm wearing shorts like I am right now, the back of your legs starts burning when it comes into contact with the powder that suddenly starts landing in this area. And it's targeted. It's a targeted delivery system of some type of aerosolized corrosive powder that literally causes severe stomach cramping and skin burning to anything it comes into contact with. If you ingest it, if it gets into your drink, for instance, I mean, I can't drink my Coke and leave the Coke uncovered, because if I do, after a few minutes, I go back and start to drink it again, I immediately become violently ill. I mean, with severe stomach cramps that go on for like an hour and a half or 2 hours. By drinking the Coke, if it is left uncovered and then this corrosive powder gets into that glass. I also have to wipe down the Coke bottles, the water bottles. I've actually had to cover my water bottles here with a plastic, because over the last 24 hours, every time I've tried to take a drink out of these water bottles, the bottles have become covered with this powdery substance that then immediately causes severe instant stomach cramping. And you can also feel it landing on your hands, and then your hands start to burn and you have to rinse them off under the kitchen tap. Sometimes the water from the tap also starts to burn when I'm trying to rinse off the burning powder from my hands. So then I have to go down the hall to the common bathroom where that water is usually fine, and then your hands feel fine. There is no immediate remedy for the violent stomach cramping that happens if you drink enough of this powder that gets into your food or into your drink. Pepto-Bismol doesn't really work. Drinking water doesn't really work. It's almost like drinking water makes it worse, because this is a corrosive substance. Drinking water seems to propagate it into the rest of your system, and it makes it worse. So I found that drinking anything after I've ingested food or water or drink that has this powdery corrosive substance in it is to not drink anything, because drinking any liquid seems to flush it through my system even quicker. And then the cramping isn't just in your stomach anymore. It's throughout your peritoneal cavity. This is really bad. This is really harmful. I've noticed this started happening maybe a couple of years ago, and it has become increasingly frequent and more intense and constant, so that I'm frequently having to just wipe down this entire table, even before I just do anything at it, because sometimes even just putting my forearms down on the table when it has this powdery substance on it causes my forearms to suddenly start burning where they were perfectly fine just seconds before. So right now there's been like a tremendous amount of this powdery stuff suddenly coming in, probably from the bathroom through the suspended ceiling tiles that have gaps in them and has a 6-inch wide or even greater space between the suspended tiles and then the rest of the ceiling. Anybody can do whatever they want in that gap, especially if they're frequently hanging out in the vacant, unrented premises of the bathroom of 78 behind this wall that I keep reporting has been housing the same exact mentally disturbed, violent, aggressive, intrusive psychopath since 2013. The Greenville Group are lying through their teeth when they say that there's a nice new tenant in that unit. They're not. It's the same piece of shit that's been violently slamming things against the wall behind my toilet when I try to use that toilet at 3:30 in the morning since 2013. It is Jasmine Irizarry, the paid, sponsored career criminal who I've been informed by people who are simply trying to help and who don't even know me that she is a paid career criminal who is getting sponsored by the Greenville Group to engage in constant aggressive harassment and harm to force me to move out. If you look at the Greenville Group's track record of making false and frivolous lawsuits against me, they've had 5 in the last 5 years. They've all been false. They've all been based on fake premises. One time they claimed that I needed to move out of this unit because they needed to tear down the walls to get to the heating pipes that they claimed were on a different type of heating system than the rest of the pipes in this building. That didn't work. They also brought a lawsuit against my tenancy claiming that I was violently chasing down black men with my camera phone and assaulting them, and that 6 black men had restraining orders against me. What? That's funny. I was never notified. Shouldn't the court system tell you if 6 black men have gotten restraining orders against you? Yeah, they're a bunch of pathetic liars, and the stupid Greenville Group management team either believe the lies that these crazy, mentally disturbed BLM haystalkers tell them about me, or the Greenville Group is themselves deliberately making up stories to try to take me to court. So the fact that there's constantly aggressive harassment that is also harmful. I've also been getting electronically assaulted by Jasmine Irizarry's admitted use of a directed energy device throughout the entire afternoon and evening. I've actually made 2 videos about that since I got up and tried to use my bathroom at 5 o'clock this morning, and I started getting aggressively and repeatedly electronically assaulted in my bathroom at 5 o'clock this morning by the same person who's been using that directed energy device from behind this wall since 2018. That's when Irizarry started using a directed energy device. And at that time, I thought it was my router going crazy. And I got rid of my router. Then I got rid of my laptop. Then I got rid of all of my electronic equipment. And the electronic assaults continued to happen because the electronic assaults were not coming from anything that I have or am using in this unit. It was coming from a device that the paid sponsored psychopath Jasmine Irizarry was using, usually from behind that wall right there, while in conjunction with her excessive use of intense amounts of sickening cigar smoke, marijuana smoke that she is constantly smoking and propagating into this living space from behind this wall that immediately starts to fill up my bathroom but never comes from the hallway. So you do the math on that one. My bathroom is the very first part of this unit to fill up with nonstop smoke, cigar fumes, and marijuana stench from Unit 78, but it doesn't come from the hallway. So if it doesn't come from the hallway, then where else would it be coming from? Why would my bathroom be the first part of this unit to suddenly fill up with these sickening, overpowering fumes and smoke that Jasmine Irizarry seems to specialize in rapidly propagating into my living space, but it does not ever seem to be able to propagate into the hallway because the hallway is not the source of the smoke and fumes. The bathroom of 78 is, and that's happening right now as I'm making this video. There is no other person on the planet right now that can engage in this unique, very disturbing, aggressive, and harmful behavioral thumbprint other than the psychopath, the ugly, stinking pedophile, Jasmine Irizarry, who carries a deadly virus that is transmitted through body fluids and has a history of trying to kill people by contaminating them with her body fluids. That's what she was doing at the Shattuck Hospital in 2006 when I was in school with members of her clinical therapy team, and they had to gown up around her because she would compulsively vomit on staff and other patients to try to kill them. Psychopaths are not even remotely normal. If a psychopath thinks that you have done something wrong to them, they will literally stop at nothing to try to get even with you and try to hurt you. The fact that Irizarry is working in conjunction with Oleg Aleseyev of the Greenville Group to engage in nonstop, very aggressive, harmful, and increasingly sophisticated harassment tactics that also cause a lot of physical harm is not an accident. Mr. Aleseyev likes criminals. He rents to large numbers of registered pedophiles and other types of sex offenders and then unleashes them onto the community. This is a social agenda that is being deliberately engaged in by the Greenville Group and their Russian property owners, the Krytnik family. I suspect the Krytniks are, having dinner and having drinks with, what's his name, George Soros, the guy that literally unleashes like unholy amounts of criminal scumbags from the prisons and, other asylum situations into the cities of this country. Soros is basically the Antichrist, and this is the type of thing that he tends to specialize in doing. Really, like he loves the criminals just like Mr. Aleseyev, and they like to unleash unholy amounts of sex offenders and other psycho trash career thugs onto communities all over the United States because they don't like the United States. Mr. Aleseyev is from Russia. Russians don't really like the United States. He's using a Mexican psychopath like Jasmine Irizarry, who might have been trained by the drug cartels. Maybe she went to drug cartel university and learning how to use and engage in some very aggressive and harmful criminal activities that are technologically based. Mr. Aleseyev is the one that told me Irizarry has connections to MIT. I'm not sure how. I did not know that MIT accepts psychopaths, but maybe they do if the psychopath is an autistic savant, as Irizarry appears to be. She's not just a career criminal and specializes in contamination and other types of poisoning and propagation of harmful substances, but she also, according to Mr. Aleseyev, is a super talented hacker who is Greenville Group's surveillance expert. Irizarry herself has demonstrated her ability to remember numerical data from years before by immediately telling me the date of a video I had posted on YouTube from a year before. I almost fell out of my seat